In less than an hour of my time, I just wholesaled this house using a little known technique that didn't cost me a dime in marketing, and best of all, it resulted in an $85,000 profit. On this video, I'm gonna break it down for you step by step so you can do the same. Coming up.
For a limited time, you can get a free copy of Jerry Norton's Virtual Flipper Kit with everything you need to flip houses without seeing them in person. Download it now at virtualflipperkit.com.
If you're new here, my name is Jerry Norton. I've been a full-time real estate investor now for almost 18 years. Amongst other things, I specialize in flipping houses all across the country, and I've helped thousands of new investors get into the game of flipping and create six-figure and even seven-figure incomes. If you want to learn how to flip houses so you can live your dream life, be sure to subscribe to my channel and click the bell icon to get notified when new videos are released. This little known yet powerful technique will get real estate agents bringing you great deals to wholesale or flip. I call it the pocket listing flip technique. Let me explain. Just like wholesalers, real estate agents do marketing and advertising, and they rely on referrals to get new listings with sellers. If an agent is successful, a seller will agree to pay commissions and sign an exclusive listing agreement, which gives the agent the right to market and sell his property for a period of time, usually 6 months. Now, in most cases, the houses are a good fit for a retail buyer, but sometimes these properties are distressed and in disrepair and not a good fit for a retail buyer, or the seller has a pressing issue and needs to sell the property quickly and doesn't have time to do traditional marketing for a buyer. Now, in those situations, the ideal scenario is a fast closing with a cash buyer. Let me give an example of a situation that happened to me. Recently, I got an off-market seller lead, and while on the phone with the seller, I Googled the address of her property, and I noticed that it was an expired listing. That means it was listed for sale on market with an agent, but never sold, and then the listing expired, and now it's off market. So I said to the seller, "Hey, I see you tried to sell your property on market, but it never sold. What happened?" She proceeded to explain how she got several offers and went under contract 2 or 3 different times, but in all 3 cases, the buyers needed FHA financing, and during the FHA inspections, the roof didn't pass. It wasn't leaking, but it needed replaced. And since this home was like an $80,000 value, the ideal retail buyer needed FHA financing. So the property never sold, and here it was 8 months later, the seller is talking to me, a cash buyer. Now, shame on this agent for not knowing what to do and how to handle that situation. What should have happened is the agent should have said to the seller, "Listen, due to the roof issue, we have 3 options to sell your house. Option number 1 is to fix the roof so the house can qualify for an FHA buyer. Option 2 is to list the property on market, but at a lower price and market the property as is and cash only to attract an investor. And more than likely, a buyer's agent will be involved, so the seller will pay the full commission of, let's say, 6%. Or option 3, which is to not go on market at all. Instead, the agent contacts her favorite cash buyer, Jerry Norton, who aside from being a super great guy, he's someone the agent has a working relationship with, and she works out a private sale with the seller and Jerry. Now, when an agent facilitates a private sale between the seller and a buyer, this is called a pocket listing. Now, some states don't allow agents to do pocket listings, so make sure it's okay in your market. In fact, I did a video all about pocket listings and the pros and cons. I'll put a link to that video in the description box below so you can watch it later. With option 3, the sale process is much easier and faster and much less intrusive for the seller. And if the agent wants, she could offer the seller a lower total commission of, let's say, 3 or 4% instead of 6%, since there isn't another agent involved, which saves the seller on some fees. And guess what? If given those 3 options, many sellers would choose option 3 and do the entire sale off market and completely under the radar for a number of reasons. It could be the seller doesn't want pictures of his house on the internet. Maybe he doesn't want his neighbors to know that he's selling. Maybe he doesn't want a lot of showings and strangers coming into his house, or any number of reasons. And this is exactly what happened to me on my recent deal. This deal was here in Puerto Rico where I live, and I connected with an agent who's the top selling agent in the community where I live. Now, I sat down with him and I said the following: I have access to cash, and I also work with other investors and buyers who have cash, and we're looking for investment properties to purchase to either hold for rental income or flip for profit. I continued, I know from time to time you come across distressed properties and motivated sellers who are looking for a cash buyer and a private off-market transaction. When you do, I'd like to be your cash buyer. You can charge whatever commission fees to your seller, and on top of that, I'll also pay you a commission or referral fee. Now, I'm licensed so I can do that. Make sure you find out what you can and can't do with paying referral fees to agents. So here's what happened. About a week after that conversation, this agent called me and said he had a seller who wanted a quick private sale and was looking for a cash buyer for $500,000. Now, this property was in great condition. That wasn't the issue. The problem was the seller had an urgent health situation come up, and he needed the equity in his home, and he wanted a fast closing, and he didn't have time to market for a traditional retail buyer. He basically told the agent, find me a cash buyer who can close fast, and I'll sell it for $500,000. So this agent brought me the deal, which was a great deal, and I agreed to buy it for $500,000 cash, and we signed a contract. And once under contract, I took pictures and video of the house, and I posted the deal for sale for $625,000 on a private WhatsApp group that I belong to of American entrepreneurs living in Puerto Rico. Now, I knew on this group there were other American buyers like me moving to Puerto Rico that were looking for homes in good neighborhoods, and I was right. Someone from that group wanted my house. He was already living here in my neighborhood, but was renting, and now he's getting married and wants to buy a house. Best of all, he was cash, so we worked out a price of $595,000. And since I decided to double close the deal, I signed a new purchase and sale agreement with my American cash buyer. So I had a contract for $500,000 with the seller, and then another contract for $595,000 with my buyer. And in case you don't know, a double closing is when you do two separate closings back to back on the same property. Closing one was between me and the seller for $500,000, and closing two was between me and my cash buyer for $595,000. Personally, I'm a big believer that double closing wholesale deals is much better than doing assignment closings. To find out why, watch a video where I explain 4 big reasons why you should avoid doing assignment closings. I'll put the link to that video in the description below, and you can watch it later. Between closing fees when I bought it and closing fees when I turned around and sold it, I paid approximately $5,000, and I also agreed to pay the agent who brought me the deal $5,000, which, since it was a double closing, the $5,000 was a commission on the sales side that came out of my proceeds at closing, so it was not a referral fee. So my net profit, all said and done, was approximately $85,000. And what's great is the deal was a win-win-win-win. The seller got exactly what he wanted and was super happy. By working with me, the agent made 4% from the seller when I bought it, plus another $5,000 when I sold it for bringing me the deal, so he was super happy. The end buyer was really happy because he got the exact house he was looking for at a slight discount, and I was thrilled to pay the agent $5,000, so he's motivated to bring me more deals, not to mention I made $85,000. Now, if you think that's not bad for an hour of work and no marketing cost, leave a comment and say, Jerry, you are a Puerto Rican flipping genius, or better yet, say it in Spanish, tú eres un genio flipeando. And in case you're thinking, sure, Jerry, you have money coming out of your ears, you can write a check for $500,000 on the first closing to buy the property, but I can't do that. Don't worry, I got you covered. I'll give you 100% of the money to double close your wholesale deals. To learn how to use my money, watch a free training. Just go to usejerryscash.com to get all the details. So, how can you do the same pocket listing flip technique in your market? Here's how. Make a goal to contact 5 agents a day in your market. Say exactly what I said to the agent on my deal. I work with a group of investors looking for properties to rent for cash flow or flip for profit. If you encounter a seller looking for a quick as-is cash sale, call me. Not only can you get a full commission from the seller, but I'll pay you a referral fee as well for bringing me the deal. This will only take about 30 minutes a day. Keep track of the agents who seem enthusiastic about working with you. Get their contact info and send them regular emails and texts, letting them know you're looking for deals, so that way you stay front of mind. And here's a quick tip. Rather than randomly calling agents, get my on-market deal finder tool that gives you a list of all of the underpriced properties in any zip code. Then call those listing agents to make offers on those underpriced listings. That way you have a good reason for calling them to have the pocket listing flip technique conversation. By the way, I'll give you my deal finder tool for free. Just go to mydatacruncher.com. Now finally, I want you to watch another video where I wholesaled a different house in less than an hour. What's great is I recorded the calls with the seller and the buyer so you can see firsthand how I did it. So watch that video now, and if you haven't yet, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. With almost 800 videos, this is the #1 channel on YouTube for all things flipping, and I'll see you on the next video.